Nice to see you. Let's see who we have here today. Welcome everyone to our AMA. Let me just do a quick YouTube broadcast for Team Replay. Nice to see you. Here we go. All right, who is here for day 4 out of 4? Like you've made it 4 days in a row. I feel like I know so many of your names now. Hello, Alex, Lauren, Ruby, Shruti, Mina. Nice to see you. Evs, Desiree, Stephanie. Awesome. So many fours popping through the chat. Hey, Adrienne. Awesome, awesome. So let me see, Nisa, 2 replays, 2 lives. Awesome. I know there's a lot of you who are in the UK and Asia. You're like, this time is not my time. I am sleeping, and that's totally cool too. We're gonna get started in just a minute or two, but type into the chat for me, what's been your favorite day so far? I'm just so curious. And while you guys let me know in the chat which day, I am going to add to panelist Melissa, whom I'm going to introduce you to in just a moment. Melissa, can you raise your hand as panelist if you're here? All right, so let me read the chat in the meanwhile. We have lots of day 3s and yesterday coming through, which is day 3, day 2, day 2. I took a ton of notes on day 2, so I think I'm going to go with that one. Day 3, day 3. Awesome. I love it. And let me just double check. Day 2. Awesome, awesome. All right. So Melissa, whenever you're here, just raise your hand. And what I'll want to do right now is share my screen because I want to go over something with you really quick. So today is all about ask me anything. I have been over the past 3 days just giving you so much information. And today my intention is 2 intentions. I want to be able to connect and to serve. So connection and service are my 2 main intentions. And I know as I went through each day, there were a lot of questions that came up, and I wasn't able to get to every one or every question. These live streams are a little bit chaotic, and our Happily Hired Formula program, it's much, much, much more intimate, so I get to everyone. But today I'm going to see how I can get to as many questions as possible. So if you have a question that's lingering on your mind right now about your job search, you're feeling stuck, feel free to find the Q&A button here in Zoom and plop your question in there. I can't guarantee that I'm going to get to everyone, but I'll try to go through as many as possible today. But as we do that, just to kind of see where we're at in our framework, this is really what I went over yesterday, right? This is the 7 C's to get happily hired. Obviously, our time together is not a long time. And I, on day 1, went more to clarify your calling, which is kind of the second step here. Day 2, we talked about creating your personal brand. And then yesterday's masterclass really went through all of this at a very high level. So again, just to recap, in order to get successful in your job search, 1, we have to have the belief, the confidence, the courage to go after what we do. And so that's why under here is kind of all of those things that often are hidden, invisible enemies is what I call them, that kind of prevent us from going after what we want. And so if you guys are interested in any type of mindset coaching today, you want to talk out things, we can add you as a panelist and have you raise your hand and unmute yourself. And you're welcome to be on video if you feel courageous to do so. But if you just feel comfortable being on audio, that's totally fine as well. So I just wanted to share really quickly in the framework of getting happily hired. We're always working on our courage and our confidence, right? Then it's really identifying, what do I want to do? Who am I? Really getting clear on my career path, being able to craft your career story. This is how we make career pivots. We come up with stories that connect the dots for our dream employer, and that makes sense. Then we can start to move into creating a resume, a LinkedIn, so that we can feel confident putting ourselves out there. And then we connect with our dream network. This is when we get visible to our dream employers. We learn how to crush our interviews and finally how to negotiate our salary. So that's the framework. And let me just stop share really quick. Let me see if I can find Melissa. I'm seeing a lot of Q&As coming through. Awesome. Yes, Melissa, let me go ahead and add you as panelist. Hold on one sec. For some, oh, here we go. Promote panelist. Yay. Um, I want to introduce y'all to Melissa because she's one of our coaches inside of the Happily Hired Formula. And by the way, if you're joining us in Happily Hired Formula, welcome. Our enrollment opens up on January 27, Monday. So if you have not yet joined the waitlist, make sure you join it because we have a special promo code for $500 off this round. Just by joining the waitlist. And Melissa, hello. This actually works out perfectly because I call this an AMA. Like it stands for Ask Me Anything, but it can stand for Ask Melissa Anything too, as we tag team this group tonight.
That's
Do you mind
true.
introducing yourself really briefly?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. Thank you for showing me all the love in the chat. I'm so honored to be with you here tonight and honored that Emily asked me to be a coach in HHF. I want to share with you that last year I was in your shoes. I was on this same boot camp in January 2024, and I found myself very drawn to Emily and to HHF because of how she approaches job searching. She was the first job search expert that I'd seen who not only focused on all the tactical things that you have to do of getting a job, but the mindset behind it. And that was something that I really valued because I am a mindset coach. So I joined HHF and I remember thinking, I want to work for Emily. And if I can't work for her, then I want to work for an online business owner like her, because at the time I was recovering from burnout of having my own business. I had to shut down my business, but I really wanted to use these skills that I developed of, running the behind the scenes of a business and doing coaching in communities. And so I did the coursework. I showed up in the private LinkedIn community a lot. I shared regularly in the group. I went to the coaching calls. I offered encouragement to my peers. The updates to my LinkedIn were amazing because it did become the billboard that Emily says your LinkedIn can become. That was one of my favorite things. My other favorite thing was solution messaging leaders. And it worked for me. I was, in fact, hired by an online coach to coach in his community because I recorded a Loom video with a solution message for his business. And then I heard from Emily and she said, I have an opening in my business I think you'd be perfect for. Do you want to chat? And the rest is history. That was 6 months ago. The dream job came to me because I kept showing up, believing in myself, believing in what I offered, and I get to use all the skills that I love using for a company that I believe in. So I just wanted to share that, like that quick, boot camp HHF story with you guys because I know you can relate to it. Um, I also want to share a little bit about my background. I've navigated several career transitions in my life. Okay, I've worked as a bank teller. I've worked in accounts receivable and collections for a manufacturing company. I worked in higher education administration. I managed study abroad recruitment. I've taught English as a second language, and then I became a certified coach. So I have navigated a lot of career transitions, and my specialty is helping you with your mindset as you navigate your job search. I'm not a former recruiter, so I don't have that same insider knowledge that Emily has when it comes to the hiring process. But what I do know from personal experience and from coaching other job seekers is that it's a lot easier and more enjoyable to attract your dream job when you focus on what you want, you believe in the possibility of it happening for you, and you really focus on what you can control in the process and let go of the stuff that you can't. So I'm more interested in helping you feel safe, comfortable, confident, excited throughout your job search. Because then when you take action and you do things like you have a networking conversation or you solution message somebody, you are showing up as your best self. Not the person that desperately wants to be picked for the job, but the person that knows this is the value that I offer and is confident in their abilities and trust that the best opportunity will reveal itself to them in due time.
Awesome. You're getting so much love. Stephanie says, a true Renaissance woman.
Oh my God, amazing. Wow.
I so appreciate that. And what I love about Melissa too, which I'll just add, is one, you've been in the job seeker's shoes. So you totally understand everything that they're going through. But two, you're an amazing communicator. Like when I looked at your materials, when I was reviewing your resume, I was like, I need to talk to her. And so regardless if you're doing tactical stuff, if you guys ever in Happily Hired Formula like need a wordsmith, brainstorm, strategize. Melissa truly is like a words queen, like a communications queen. So
Thank
you guys are in
you.
very, very good hands. And with that being said, we have about 14 questions. Let's see if we can just laser through them. Some of them are very like practical, tactical. I'll answer them. And then anytime we want to have somebody raise their hand, we'll invite you to raise your hand. And that way we can have you unmute yourself and connect with you. All right, let's dig into it. So this is so exciting. I will just kind of go through from top to bottom. And again, if you guys have questions, don't put them into the chat because it'll get lost. Put it into the Q&A button down at the bottom of your Zoom. So Adrian says, I'd like to know if you think that LinkedIn Premium is worth the cost. So really practical, tactical. If you have a free LinkedIn Premium, doesn't hurt. Fun fact, you can still message people for free without a LinkedIn Premium account. Even when you have it, it's like very limited. But if anybody has like that LinkedIn gold icon next to their name, you can message them for free. You can also go into common groups, like find common groups that gives you a commonality to connect with. And then from the groups, LinkedIn groups, you can message people for free. So there's huge communities and groups on LinkedIn, like HR group with over 1 million users. You can message those people for free, even if they're in your second or third degree connections. So by the way, in our LinkedIn module, our networking module, there's tutorials that dive into all of that much deeper. But to me, no, I wouldn't do LinkedIn Premium. The other thing too is a lot of recruiters are getting a lot of in-mails from job seekers. Their inboxes are crazy. My inbox is crazy, and I'm not even a recruiter. So the other thing that I'm just going to mention is in our networking module, we have a whole tutorial of how to find the hiring manager, the recruiter's email address, their corporate email address, so that you can message them there. And I recommend messaging them both ways because you never know which inbox they're going to check. But typically, their corporate email inbox is a surer bet. Not everyone is active on LinkedIn. All right, I'm going to move to the next one. Beverly asked, how do I get a recruiter to help me? So, uh, there's a couple ways to answer this. If you're talking about a headhunter, like a staffing agency recruiter, you can search. There's actually in our module like 9 ways to job search. There's a whole section on staffing agency headhunters, like how to find them and how to get them to work with you. So if you find staffing agency recruiters, they want to talk to candidates that are qualified so that they can position them for their clients. If you're talking about a corporate recruiter or like talent acquisition to help you, their job is just to find the most qualified candidate. So ideally, you would have a polished resume. I will also add, I think a lot of people expect, like when they get rejected, they'll ask for feedback, like, can you tell me why I'm not moving on or what I can do better? That's not a recruiter's job. they're actually not allowed to tell you a reason because it opens them up to a lawsuit or an argument or a debate. So recruiters are not going to tell you the truth. Some might, but very few will. That's what career coaches are for. Career coaches are really here to tell you. So hopefully that answered your question, Beverly. If you have follow-up questions, let me know as well. Okay, by the way, Melissa, anything juicy here that you feel would be a really good person to bring on?
Well, I actually just wanted to say one thing. Adrian, I just wanted to mention, I saw that you said in the chat you wanted to connect about the higher ed connection that we have, and I would love to do that. So let's connect. I'm very interested in Moses. He says, since 2012, I've been an entrepreneur until today. So I've never worked for anyone, and I'm finding it difficult to jump into job searching. I'm confused.
Okay, do you want to bring him on live or should we just
Would
answer
you?
it?
Um, I think it would be really interesting to chat with Moses if he wants to come on live.
Yeah, Moses, raise your hand. You've been summoned. This is so fun. Okay, awesome. Let's promote to panelist. And again, Moses, you can be on camera if you feel comfortable, or you could just do audio.
Hi, Moses.
Hello, hi guys.
Hi.
Hi.
So I just came to the US a year ago, and I've been an entrepreneur in Dubai for the past 11 years, and right now I just got my social security number, and I'm looking for a job, but I don't know. I'm confused, to be honest with you. I really don't know what to do, where to start. My LinkedIn is all over the place, My resume is old, and I don't know where to go, based on my experience. And I don't know how I communicate with people.
Awesome. So, Melissa, let me lead first on the
Yeah,
tactical stuff,
please.
the mindset stuff. Okay, so first off, Moses, thank you for sharing that. That's a huge move. Welcome, by the way. And amazing that you have, is it a green card or
Uh,
what's your visa?
no, I've got a social security number, so I can work. I've got a work permit.
Great. Perfect. So first, because your resume is going to have a lot of Dubai at a glance, re recruiters are going to assume that you're not eligible to work in the US. So just make sure, like at the very top of your resume, where you have your contact information, it's like bolded and it says authorized to work in US
Mhm.
or US work permit, no authorization or no sponsorship needed. So just make sure that's really, really clear because otherwise they're going to glance and they're going to be like, oh, we don't sponsor. So does that make sense?
Yeah,
That's going to open up so many doors. Um, Second, did you watch day three's masterclass by
yeah,
chance?
yeah.
Okay. Beautiful. So that's your framework. That's the steps. But I want to say anything that you've done as an entrepreneur you can do for a company as well. Like, what's the internal position of that? So, what did you love doing most, or what? Well, let me back up. Are you looking for something similar to what you did as an entrepreneur? Or are you looking
Yeah,
for something completely different?
yeah. I'm looking for something similar, something like a startup.
Okay. And then, what were you doing in your role that you love doing that you want to do more of?
I was actually doing the negotiations. I was doing the strategy for the company. I was managing a IT team. I was doing many things. So I didn't do
Okay.
only one thing. Yeah.
Okay. Kind of like a managing director.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, so that might be a really good place for you to start is taking a look at some of these managing director positions and starting to sift through, does this feel aligned with what I'm looking for? And then essentially what you can do is figure out, okay, what is it that these positions are really asking? Where have I done this in my previous company? And that's where you're going to start to position yourself and connect the dots onto your resume. I will say, instead of putting like CEO or owner or founder, give yourself the title that you want to go for. Like titles don't really mean anything, and I'll answer one of these questions in a bit. One title is completely different at another organization. So you're marketing yourself, you're positioning yourself. If you are a CEO on your resume, they're going to look at that and be like, you're overqualified or you're not going to want this job, right? So step into the role. Like I loved being the managing director. Put that on your resume so you can align to the jobs that you're actually looking for. Does that make sense as a starting ground?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So this is a big question. I mean, this is what we do inside of the Happily Hired formula to like walk you step by step through each of the stages. But I hope the clarity piece is the very first thing that you do, and you start with that. And then I think there's also confidence piece too, because moving to another country, all of that is probably also, do you have questions like, how am I going to stand out? Are they going to hire me based on the fact I don't have US experience? Any of that coming up for you?
No, I
Okay.
don't, I'm not worried about that, to be honest with you. I'm just
Okay.
worried. Yeah, I'm just confused to where do I stand at the moment? That's where I'm worried about.
Mhm. Okay, beautiful. So I'm going to pass the mic to Melissa to see what kind of targeted advice she wants to give to you or support.
Yeah, well, I think, as you prepare your materials, as you go into conversations and have interviews, really like think about all of the advantages that you bring as somebody who has worked overseas, navigated a move abroad, any of the international knowledge that you have, the ability to communicate in different languages, really draw upon the resilience that you have to be able to do all of these things. And having been an entrepreneur, I mean, you have such an amazing skill set, and lots to bring to a startup here. So I would really like list out some of these advantages that you bring to the table as somebody who has been brave enough to move to a new country and find a job here.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Moses, I hope
Thank
that's a
you for
great starting
sharing.
ground.
Thank you. I'm gonna see you in the academy for sure.
Awesome.
Oh,
Okay, we'll work so
great.
much closer and like I want to see your resume. I want to dive deeper. So that's beautiful. We're
Thank
going
you.
to get you.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Awesome. Thank you, Moses. Okay, you're going to have to help me navigate, Melissa, the whole Zoom features. I'm going to like laser in on some of these just very tactical, practical job search questions, and then you pick out another person to bring on. Okay, so Beverly, oh, we already did this
Oh,
one.
I'm sorry, Emily. I
James,
think I don't have the permission to do anything with the panelists, so I think you have to move Moses.
oh, okay, let me make you a co-host.
Yeah. Oh, great, thank you.
Okay, I only have two fingers that are operating. There's like so many boxes. All right. Blythe, I sometimes worry about ageism. Is it okay to leave off the year I graduated college? Absolutely. And Blythe, just know that you don't need to make your resume a tell-all of everything that you've done. This is why it's kind of hard. Like a lot of the feedback that I'm giving to you guys is very generalized because I don't know your full background. But I will say if your resume has lots of years of experience, nobody really cares about what you've done past 10 years ago. So if you're able to keep your resume to like, here's my work history from the past 10 years, and then you have like your bachelor's of arts and whatever, and no graduation year, that's totally fine. I say that because with a caveat, because sometimes you have previous experience that maybe shows longevity, or maybe it is a big name that bolsters your resume, or maybe you have previous industry experience that's actually related to where you want to go back to and not so much the in between. So it's really important to just kind of understand my whole background. How am I presenting this? But just know that most employers are not really going to dig past what you did most recently and maybe your role before that. So those are like the two sections, sorry, the two jobs that I would really hone in on and make sure that your bullets, your achievements are really speaking to the kind of role that you're filling. Again, what are those transferable skills? What are those achievements that really paint the picture of, ooh, okay, I can see why this person, Blythe, is applying to this job and I'm curious about this. Anything below that, they're not really going to invest so much heavily into the bullets. And as far as bullets go, I'm a big fan of like previous jobs, again, with a caveat. But for the most part, like your most recent job, 5 bullets, previous jobs, 3 bullets. Unless you've been there for a long time, that's the bulk of your experience. We can go a little bit further, but just nobody, like, do not put a wall of text and like 10 bullets in a row without any breaks or like headers of categories because the longer it is, the longer the eyes want to glaze. Back in day 2, I showed you guys the paralegal resume. That's like, no, I'm not reading that. So just know like there's an art and a science to it, but totally fine to leave off your graduation year. All right, I feel like I need to move faster. Like boom, boom, boom. Did you find anybody?
Yeah, there's a couple of people I would love to bring on. Somebody has a call with a hiring manager tomorrow.
Ooh,
That would be interesting. Marie Kelly, if you would like to come on.
yeah, let's promote to panelist.
Okay. Marie Kelly, feel free to raise your hand if you'd like to come on. Okay.
Hi, Marie.
Hi,
Congratulations on your interview.
thank you.
Can we know what the role is for? Just for some
Sure,
context.
it's a program manager in the e-commerce space, and
Awesome.
actually worked at this job from like 2011 through 2019, and had some other roles in between, and now I'm maybe going back.
Cool.
Yeah.
So how do you feel going into this interview?
I feel a little bit better because I know like the background of the company. I know what it feels like to work there. But I think I still get a little nervous. And how do I kind of sell myself in that short amount of time and making sure I'm hitting the points properly for the hiring manager?
Beautiful. Melissa, do you want to take this one?
Sure. What is it specifically concerning you about making specific points?
I guess it's always like the star method that gets me, like the behavioral stuff. Yeah, I just always get tripped up on that. And in the last few roles that I've had, I haven't had like huge projects that I've managed, and that's kind of tripping me up a little bit too. Like, did I manage enough big projects to move on to the next phase of interviewing?
Can I take this one, Melissa?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So first off,
Imposter syndrome.
say that again, Marie.
Imposter syndrome a little bit coming in.
Oh my gosh, I just did an HHF call this afternoon and we talked all about imposter syndrome, so you're not alone. I wish I could show my screen. I can show my screen. Okay, sorry. I'm like, there's a time hour. I don't want to get too off topic, but I could go into this topic really deep. Okay, first off, I want to like have a pep talk with you because
Yeah.
you got called into this interview with them knowing your background already,
Yeah.
that you haven't held this role since 2019. So like, why do you think they've invited you in for the interview?
I think they like what I've done since then. I've gone on to do a lot of the stuff that they're looking for in this role. Yeah, I ended up going to like Meta after that, and Microsoft, so some big tech companies. And yeah, I think they feel I could bring that experience back to Etsy. I'm interviewing at Etsy.
Awesome.
So yeah.
Yeah. So they love the caliber of organizations that you've worked for.
Yeah.
And yet you're here asking, did I work on big enough projects?
Yes. Yeah.
So tell me more about that. Where's that conclusion go?
Um, so I guess like at my most recent role, the projects were short. There were maybe, 2 weeks long, maybe a few months long, not these big drawn out tech projects that I'm assuming that they're going to be looking for.
So
Yeah.
how does having like quick execution and like shorter projects make it an advantage to these companies that have larger, longer projects?
Mm. That I can work fast on my feet, that you have no time to waste. I have to get stuff done in a super short amount of time instead of dragging stuff out for months. So
Yeah, like more effective,
yeah.
more efficient.
Yeah,
Like
yes, yeah.
maybe these big launches don't have to be as long. Can we find ways to make it even faster, quicker, so that we can get XYZ results? Can you see how like that's actually an advantage?
Yes, yes. And a
And
good
how,
sell.
yeah, and why they maybe even brought you in because they're like, oh, I want to know what she's doing at these big companies. And maybe you have a very different outlook, having worked at these fast, quick paced companies that expect a lot that you're bringing over. So it's not so much like, what have I not done? But it's like, how is my background advantageous? Can I focus on that? And if you can do that, do you think you could do these longer projects?
Yes. Yes, of course.
I think so too.
Oh, I
So,
love it.
yeah, I just really want you, instead of thinking like, how do I sell myself? What's another way that you can? Okay, let me back up. When you say, how do I sell myself? How do you feel in your
Mm,
body?
like a little defeated.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, yeah, just like,
How do I prove myself?
yeah,
Like, that's really like hypervigilant. That's not a calm, connected state. That's like, I need to like make sure I'm polished. I need to make sure everything's perfect. I need to make, and that's a lot of pressure. And when we have pressure in an environment setting, we choke.
yeah. It
We freeze.
shows. Yes.
We can't think clearly because all of our energy is rushing to our body. It's rushing to our arms, our legs. I love nervous system regulation because whenever we're feeling hypervigilant, like I'm not safe, I'm not connected, I need to be fearful, I need to prove myself, our energy is rushing from our brain to our arms and our body and our legs, saying, move. It's not safe here. Move. And you have nowhere to move to, right? Do you need
Yeah.
to be strategic or do you need to run fast? You need strategic. And so
Right, right.
instead of thinking like, how do I prove myself? How do I sell myself? Let me ask how you want to feel instead in this interview.
Mm, I want to feel confident and I know my stuff. I have the experience to do the role for sure. That's how I
Yeah.
feel. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to feel confident. So instead of how do I sell myself, what would be another thought that can help you feel confident going in?
Hmm. Um, because I'm more of a relaxed person. Like I want to come in relaxed, like me. I want to
Yeah.
come in as my full, like authentic self.
Beautiful. Yeah. They've seen my resume. They know my background. I'm just showing up as me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I want to help them. I want to help Etsy with what I know.
Yep.
Like, can you sense the safety and the connection rather than like the pressure in this?
Yes. Yeah. Feels a lot more soothing and um chill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chill.
Yeah.
So that's going to be your work. Is it in person or
uh Video. Yep.
beautiful? Before you go into the waiting room, just really like ground yourself into that. Like shake off the nerves, like literally go like this, take off
Yeah.
all the nerves, and like really, like for 2 minutes, and then some deep inhales, some deep exhales, and ground yourself back to that reminder. They've seen my resume. I'm here because, and again, all those different things that you just said, I'm just going to connect with my authentic self.
Yeah.
I'm not going to prove myself. I'm just going to connect with my authentic self. Because from that state, and I can tell you've already done your research, you've already done your homework, you can
Mhm.
show up way more confidently and open, which is what we talked about earlier in this boot camp. Like,
Yes.
they don't feel connected to you. It doesn't matter how great your background is or what your skills are. They're going to go with the other candidate that they felt connected to.
Exactly.
Okay. So you're going to crush it tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you both. This is awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah, Marie Kelly, I already hear the shift in you. You're gonna do great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Energetically. Like we can't see you, but I can hear it.
Mhm.
Thanks.
Good pick, Melissa. All right. We have so many questions, and I love your guys' like championing you guys got going on. Before we dig in any further, let me just share my screen really quick with y'all because I want to go over what happily hired formula is really quick from a student's perspective, because I've been getting a lot of questions like, what is this format like? So when you enroll, I just want to give you a quick overview of the behind the scenes sneak peek into our portal. I want to share that I didn't go over everything that's in here, but when there's so much in here, but when you go in here, I really recommend that you start with where to start in this program. And you'll notice that we have a little flow chart that makes it really easy, Moses, to figure out where you are and where you need to go in this program. So just know that in each of these modules, they're really short. Let me see if I can go back. Hold on one sec. So many windows popped up. Okay. In the program, you can go to whichever module you're in. So for instance, Marie has an interview. Great. Jump into the interview module and everything you could possibly want to know about interviewing is in here. I will share that each lesson is pretty short, like on average 3 minutes. You know, you could like play it at two speed, 1.5 speed, whatever it is. But every module has a transcript, and then the whole transcript is here as well. So if you're just like a reader, I've had previous students tell me like they just went on a plane and printed it out on their way to the interview and they just did everything. So I want to share that it's quick, short videos. I don't want you to learn all day. I want you to just know what you need to know. And then as you go through the modules, you're like, great, how does this apply to my background? But how is this relevant to my situation? I just moved from Dubai. You know, like how can I answer this particular question or explain this about my background? That's the beautiful thing about our group coaching calls and our, I hate the freeze frame. It's never flattering. But anyways, our group coaching calls are every week. Any question you have, it's a much, much more intimate group. On average, there's like maybe 20 people on a call, and then it starts to dwindle as the months progress. Our current calls have like, today I did one and there was 2 people on there. So just know there's plenty of time to get the support that you want and need. And then in between calls, we have a LinkedIn community, again, where you can ask anything. It's like unlimited email support. Anything you want feedback on, you ask and you shall receive an answer in depth. And I oftentimes will also just record my screen walking you through things if it's easier to explain. But anything tactical, anything practical, anytime you're like, I feel stuck, I don't know what to do, I'm confused about this, I just went through this, and can you give me feedback on my tell me about yourself answer? Like truly, there's so much support in here. I don't want you guessing, but I'm not a mind reader. Like I really need you to be able to raise your hand or like type into the chat what's coming up for you so we can support you in the best way possible. So I just wanted to give you a sneak peek of inside. Again, the videos are pretty short. They're like 5 minutes on average. Everything you could possibly want to know. This is like the whole career blueprint, your career story, you know, come up with a career story in less than 30 minutes is like the module, but of course, you have implementation guides and worksheets to actually be able to come up with your story. The LinkedIn profile is like 30 minutes. You can have your LinkedIn done in a day. Applicant tracking system resume. Again, this time only, I'm gonna be working with you to rewrite your resume and your LinkedIn. So you may not have to go through all this. I'll just honestly like ask you for a job description, give me your current version of your resume and I'll help you fine tune it. So again, stamp of approval. This looks great. I can move on, not obsess over my resume, my LinkedIn profile, and I can start networking and or jump into interviews and or negotiate my salary and or here's all the other ways to land a dream job as well. You know, there's so many ways to land a job. And then just so you guys know, in here, we also have bonus lessons I didn't even talk about. We've had guest experts like leadership coaches do one on imposter syndrome. You guys know that's big right now. I keep seeing it in the chat. How to prepare for your performance reviews. For those of you who are having trouble with time management, we have a lot of great trainings there. And then we also have a lot of different life coaches and executive coaches who've come in to talk about, you know, perfectionism, overcoming job search burnout, getting over toxic workplaces, setting boundaries, your money mindset, so you can actually ask for those salary negotiations. And yeah, these are all of our previous calls, but you don't need to go through them because we're going to have weekly calls moving forth. So hopefully that's a good crash course of what to expect when you enroll. And again, my goal for you is to not just sit there and learn all day. I just want you to move into action. And when you're stuck, either moving into action, that's really where Melissa and I can support you, and or when you're in action and you're like, what do I do? So in action, like not doing anything, and then in action, like you're actually moving forth, but you have new questions. That's where I really want to hear from you. Oh my gosh, I think on day 4, I'm losing my voice.
Well, you have
Sad,
been
but
talking a lot.
oh my gosh, I can talk forever about this stuff. All right, so hopefully that answers questions. Can you pull up another one, Melissa?
Yeah, well, I know you mentioned on day 1 that you would address Weena's question, and she's here and would like to join the
Yeah,
call. So
that was on my to-do list. Awesome. Let's
let
bring Lena
me let me add you as a panelist.
on. Hi,
Hello,
Lena. Hi.
can you hear me well?
Oh, yes.
10 out of 10.
Okay. Oh, thank you. Yeah, so I can start to explain a little bit of my background. Maybe you already seen in the Facebook already. I have quite a clear direction of what I wanted for my job. So I know that I'm a UX designer, and then I also draw for user interface, and I do graphic as well. I come from an industrial design background. So basically, I have a lot of artistic and strategy thinking. And therefore, before I actually took Emily's Happy Roadmap program, I think, and that actually helped me transition into another industry, because before I was industrial design, and yeah, I was designing physical product, like shoes and fashion product, like what you see on the market. And because of pandemic, the switch to digital products such as the game industry wasn't that easy, because everyone is really like telling me you need to restudy whatever, but I just don't believe them. So
Lena, I'm going to pause
yeah,
you for a moment. You're doing wonderful. If we had a lot of time, I would go on,
yeah.
but
So
can you just tell me your question one sentence? My question is,
yes, my question is, for my profession, a CV is not enough. I need to show a portfolio.
yes.
How can I go through that without just a beautiful CV? And do you have experience how that might look like for a portfolio?
Yes. Okay. We actually had a former HHF coach that was a UX design recruiter, and I'm pretty sure we have a whole training in our program on how to create a portfolio. And so that training would be perfect for you. I'll have to see if my team can dig it up. Um, truly, like, we've done so much throughout the years. It was like building up. So we like hid some stuff, but it's there. But what I'm big on is modeling. So modeling is like not copying another person, but taking a look at somebody that really inspires you. You know, there's so much that's available and accessible on the internet. Take a look at some people that inspire you and really figure out like what is it that I like about this and how can I then put it into my own words, my own style, but not have to necessarily start from scratch, right? So there's a lot of functional portfolios out there that you can model from. Is there something that's holding you back from creating that?
Um, Actually, the holding back is more that I don't have confidence that I have a good portfolio, but the company might not find that fitting there. And I have hard time to know if I were to apply for Netflix.
Mhm.
I don't know what they're looking for.
Mm.
And I just try to fit my portfolio into their
Mhm.
style, for example. So, but I might need to apply for Disney, whatever. But
Mhm. Okay, I have some thoughts, but Melissa, you can start if you'd like.
Well, I think there's two different ways you can go about this. I mean, you could just say, all right, I'm going to submit my portfolio, and if this employer really likes it, then they'll grab onto it. Or you could perhaps research what are some of the things that these employers are looking for. You know, how can you find that information? Maybe it's through connecting with other people that work for companies like Netflix or Disney, through LinkedIn, and sending messages and asking for coffee chats, you know, discovering like different ways to find out what kind of artwork are they looking for. And then you get to decide, well, is that something that I really want to do? Do I really want to do that kind of artwork? And if I don't, then I don't want to do that, then you know, okay, this may not be the best employer for me.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm going to piggyback off of that because I think what you're trying to do, Weena, is like, how do I make myself into a chameleon so that everyone approves of me? And the truth of the matter is, not everyone is going to like your style. You know, like the best artist out there, like Usher, any Usher fans in the house? I look at his YouTube videos because I'm like, I miss Usher. And there's so many hate comments on there. And I'm like, what? People don't think he's talented. People don't think he can dance. Like, whoa, hold the phone, right? But it's like what I hear you saying is I'm worked, and I saw your Facebook group post, by the way, of the companies you used to work for. You got hired at Adidas, you worked for Mercedes. Like, Weena, come
Come
on.
on, girl. Oh my gosh.
Like, if that ain't good enough for Disney or Netflix, like, okay, fine, move on. But there's gonna be an employer that's gonna look at your work if you like just have this is me on display, not me trying to match your style, but like this is my style. This is my best work. Here's like a snapshot of the results I got. That's what a portfolio really is, right? It's like one, yes, it has to be aesthetic because that's your visual design, that's your art, that's your craft. Art is open to interpretation. Like, not everybody looks at one piece of art and they're like, wow, that Van Gogh, $1 million masterpiece. No, some people are like, that? Like, who pays that much for that, right? That's not their problem. So, one is getting clear. Okay, what's important in my portfolio? I would get clear on your aesthetic, your style. If you were to work for your dream employer, what would you really want to bring out to that employer? Let those qualities into your portfolio. And then again, portfolio is just a snapshot. Here's what I've done. You can show your range. Like, this is my biggest project, my biggest achievement at Adidas. And most importantly, what was the result of that? What was the problem? And this goes back to the star, but what was the problem? What did I do? What was my role in this? And what was the result? That's a portfolio, essentially. Does that make sense, Mina?
Yes, that makes a lot of sense. I was just trying to be a chameleon and hope to get all the job I want, but
Yeah. So if you're not a chameleon, what animal are you?
I would like to be a dragon though.
Yeah, bring that dragon energy in. I'm a dragon. I'm not a
Not
chameleon.
everyone likes dragon, right? But
No, but dragon is fierce, and there are people who love dragons, especially Asians. I don't know if you're targeting Asian companies, but they love
Thank-
dragons.
yes, yeah, thank you very much. That helps. That's helped a lot. Um,
Hey, so
I
what is
just also have imposter syndrome of
yeah. Okay, well, I'm gonna do an imposter syndrome training for HHF folks in February because this is like all across the board. But first, what are you gonna do next? What's your next action step towards this portfolio?
honestly is a lot to juggle around because I'm not only looking for a job, I'm also searching into perhaps a new life that I wanted. For example, I would love to move to US.
Okay.
I work in Germany right now and I would love to move to US, but I also thought of, maybe Canada is not a bad idea. Or maybe I want to go to Thailand. So I'm a bit here and there. But in the end of the day, I like to have a happiness on my job as well.
Yeah.
And I'm a very artistic person with a soul. Without artistic, basically no chance. I couldn't survive. So a lot to juggle. Relocation, new life, and what kind of job. Just figuring out what is a job, what I want. It's pretty much clear. But for a life that I wanted, it's
Beautiful. Well, what I'm hearing you say is that you're open to a lot of possibilities and you're not like narrowed in on like, I only can work in the US or I can only find jobs in the US, but you're like this soulful dragon that's just like ready to come out. And so, how about you create your portfolio and then let that guide you and have an open mind and an open heart to what employers do I want to present myself to? Or what employers can find me because my portfolio is on my LinkedIn profile. And then you just,
a
you don't get,
premium LinkedIn member.
what's that?
As a premium LinkedIn member and send application to Canada or US or whatever.
I see you as like a global soulful dragon. And when you see an opportunity and it speaks to you and you're curious about it, great. Put your name in the hat. You can come up with a, we can come up with a
Thank you so
strategy
much.
like as you get into it, but start with your portfolio because people are going to want to see it. That's how you're going to be found. That's what you're going to be presented. That's your first impression. So really create that. And then like pause. Don't think about all the other steps. Just get that done. Okay. By when? Put a timeline.
By oh no. By when? I was thinking June or July.
Is this your only job? Are you working full time?
Actually, I'm working full-time right now, and I'm actually trying to get a settlement permit in Germany while I don't know if I want to study a German language just to get a settlement permit in case, let's say if I go to US and I have to be kicked back. I don't want to go back to my own home country, but
Okay. So, how important is it for you to create this portfolio on a scale of 1 to 10?
I would love to put everything to 10, but for I think I have to think about it. You are right.
Okay. Let's say it's a 7 and 8.
7 and 8.
Okay. So, June is 6 months away. We're cutting that in half. You're getting this done by March. So, you get to ask, what am I doing that is not a 10 in importance? Where can I be spending my time working on this portfolio instead, because this is important to me. How do you feel?
A lot to think about and rate which element is important.
Yeah. But I just want to let you know, and this goes for everyone out here, we are good at procrastinating. We are good at putting things on hold. But if it's important, is this more important than, I don't know, watching Netflix? Is it important? You know, like there's so many opportunities. So you don't have to like commit right now, but ponder it and really think about if this is important, by when do I really want to get this done by? And I'm asking you to put a deadline because it sounds like you've been kind of, you said no confidence, right? So you've been procrastinating on it. If we don't put a deadline on it, it's just going to be in la la land. Let me ask you this, Mina. How long have you been thinking about creating a portfolio?
I think 1 year. 1 year.
Okay, yeah, we're starting March. This is going to be done March. That's your deadline. Because you
Okay.
work well under deadlines, right? At work, when it's clear.
Yes. Meanwhile, how about the other things of how to get the settlement permit in Germany that require like a 4 months language exam? That
I see. You have other things going on that are equally important. Okay. I mean, I don't want to take up the whole hour to get clear on this, but
But
we were
really,
to
thank
work
you
together.
so much. Yeah.
I would really want you to look at that and make time for the things that are important. And if you're an overanalyzer, you're an thinker, put a deadline on yourself. So not just like I have to get my whole portfolio done by March, but it's like I'm going to pick out the font colors by next week. You know, break it down into manageable goals for you. And you know this step by step because you're such a great designer.
Thank you so much. That makes a lot of sense.
Thanks for letting us play, Weena.
Thank you.
Awesome. I'm going to answer one other question and thank you guys for showing Weena so much love. I want to answer one more question that I said I would answer during the boot camp, which is on day 2. We talked about the LinkedIn headline, and people asked something along the lines of like, how do we not feel like an imposter when we're writing our LinkedIn headline? Do we lie? And how to frame it when we're talking to decision makers. So that was kind of the question that I saw. And my answer to that is kind of twofold. This is really where it becomes an art and a science again. And in the Facebook group, I really want to thank Melanie, I believe. She, if you guys want to look at day 2's thread, kind of wrote her situation. You know, she's a personal banker that doesn't want to be a personal banker anymore. She's getting her certifications in coaching and she wants to move over to human resources kind of roles. So if you don't have that title yet, does it preclude you from putting that on there? Well, if you're currently working, you may not want to blatantly put it out there. But if you're not working, you get to call yourself whatever you want, really, because at the end of the day, like, yes, we have a title that we hold, but we're not only just that title. Like, again, I can be a project manager. I know how to manage projects, right? I can be a account manager. I have done that. So I want to talk to you guys because I think this is something that a lot of people hold so strongly. Like, if I didn't have this title before, I can't call myself anything else. Or because I have this title, I can't call myself anything else. And I'm going to share with you just personally, before I became a career coach, I was a recruiter. And yet to become a career coach, like I actually was hired by another company to become a career coach, but I didn't wait to have that job before I started calling myself a career coach. what I did was I started sharing LinkedIn posts about, like, if I'm a career coach, I went to this coaching certification training. I talked about the things that I was learning. When I was writing articles, it wasn't like, here's what recruiters need to know. I was like, here's what job seekers need to know from a career coach perspective. I just started sharing advice. And that's when a company reached out and said, do you want to be a career coach? Like, my title at the time was recruiter. So the question is, if you're not blatantly changing your title, you're not blatantly changing your headline, that's okay. But when I go to your profile, do I see LinkedIn status post about what you're learning in this new field that you say you're interested in? Are you taking different courses that are related to the roles that you're going in? Are you joining LinkedIn groups that are in the area or the realm that you want to move into? So there's a lot of ways that you control your narrative without having to like completely change your headline. But I gave an example to Melanie in the Facebook group if you guys want to look at it, because it's hard. It is a science. Like, it took me like maybe 10 minutes to piece together how she could put it together in a headline that works without blatantly feeling like I'm an imposter, without feeling like I'm lying. There's an art and a science to it, but I just want you guys to know that if you can focus on your core essence, what it is that you're being, or who it is that you're being, what you're bringing, without labeling it, you can do that in your headline. So again, it's not so much I have to keep calling myself my current title if I don't want to be this current title anymore. You can be multiple titles, you can be multiple categories of skills, and speak to the commonality of your current job and what the new job is going to entail. So it's a little bit hard to explain, and it's going to be very unique to you, but I just want to share, like, I guess the best analogy is Miley Cyrus, right? Before she became Miley Cyrus, she was Hannah Montana. She was like this cute little innocent, very like country looking Disney star. And she wanted to train people to not see her that way anymore. So she stepped into Miley Cyrus. She went like crazy with her like hair, her whole outfit changed, and now we just know her as Miley Cyrus. We don't even think about like that Disney pop star, right? But it's all like in the way that you want to be perceived and what you want others to start knowing about you. You get to start creating that narrative. Okay, I hope that makes sense. I know we are at time. Do you guys mind if we go 10 minutes just to answer a few more questions? Is anybody gonna be mad about that?
I don't think
Okay.
so. We've got a lot of questions.
Okay, I know, but I'm like, let me know in the chat if this was helpful. Take as much time as needed. Okay. Cool.
A lot of the questions I'm seeing are around career or gaps in a resume and concern around how do you frame that. I'm seeing some stay-at-home moms talk about, how do I explain that on a resume? So what is your advice for that, Emily?
Yeah. I talked about this already in the masterclass yesterday. If you guys have not yet watched that, please watch that because it truly answers so many of these questions here. But to me, employment gaps are very common. To me, everyone has a employment gap and or they know somebody personally with an employment gap. And it is so common day in 2025 to not start as an intern at one company and get promoted until you get retired and a golden parachute. Like, that is not what's happening in this world anymore. And so we need to stop judging ourselves for having an employment gap. We need to stop judging ourselves for deciding, you know what, I'm prioritizing my family and I'm going to do motherhood and take a break so that I can raise my kids. And then when I'm ready, I can come back. Like, it's not a problem unless you make it a problem. Like so many people, so many hiring managers, so many recruiters have been in your shoes before. There's so many women who have taken a sabbatical and or they know somebody that has. And so there's a lot more compassion in the workplace. And if they're not compassionate towards your situation, they're not an employer that you want to work for. They're not an employer that you want to be magnetized to. So again, it's not a problem unless you make it a problem. And the employer's still going to want to know, how have you kept up to date? How can you immediately contribute? So these are all your ways of showcasing, this is how I can come up to speed. This is what I've been doing to stay up on the latest. I had a client who fell into that. She took time off 3 years to raise her children. And then when she came back, she was in HR. A lot has changed in HR, but she didn't say like, "Oh, I don't know the latest because I've been a stay-at-home mom for 3 years." She was like, I've been attending the SHRM meetings and I've been keeping up with XYZ and she could speak intelligibly to the latest laws and the latest trends and the latest whatever because of what she was consuming and what she was learning. And she got the job. And again, it's really about finding the aligned opportunity, not just trying to be a chameleon and trying to fit into like what everybody else wants you to be. So I think it's all related here. Okay, I do see a question. And by the way, for those of you who want to join Happily Hired Formula, I want to just emphasize January 27, Monday is when the doors open. And if you want to join the wait list now, if you haven't already, join it because we're not advertising $500 off anywhere except to the wait list. So you'll get a special email confirmation with a promo code to save $500 off. If you don't know what Happily Hired Formula is about, I don't want to take a whole time going through. Well, maybe I should because I always have questions. And I see somebody here that's asking when and what time are the calls, how many people, what if you're not able to make the weekly calls? So let me just explain it really quick. I don't want to make this whole thing about HHF. My whole thing was like, let me just help you guys. But I think a lot of you guys have questions around it. So let me just share this really quick and then we'll spin the wheel. So really quick, just to recap what you get when you join Happily Hired Formula. Our modules that I just went over during intermission was truly everything you could possibly want to know about job searching is in there. I do not want to be on our calls explaining how to network, what your resume should look like all the questions you guys are asking today is actually in these modules. And you might have very specific questions or, okay, but like, can you help me wordsmith this? Or I'm really having a hard time marketing myself from this to this. Can we brainstorm that out? Like those kinds of questions and all the questions that came up today are really, really great for our group coaching calls. They are weekly. We don't have any scheduled in February yet because after enrollment closes on February 3rd, we want to send out a survey to this cohort to ask when is your preference for these calls. But typically in the past, they've been on either a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 9 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Pacific, or 5 p.m. Pacific. They're usually an hour long. We're in a Zoom meeting, not the Zoom webinar, so everybody's like cameras can be on. And it's just a really great way to share what's coming up, to get support, to get accountability, to just job search in community and share resources and knowledge. But get coaching. Like Melissa and I are really eager to hear what's really blocking you so we can help you get out of your block as quickly as possible. And so then you can move into forward momentum. So you don't have to attend every call. In the past, we used to only offer these 2 times a month. We've now increased it to 4 times a month, just so that you have ongoing support. But truly, between the weekly group coaching calls, even if you don't attend every one of them, you can get support in our private LinkedIn community. You can ask questions at any time, get feedback, no dumb questions, like anything you could possibly want to know. you can ask inside. And then the calls for the weekly group coaching calls, by the way, are recorded. So you can listen to the recording if you want to, or just hop into the next call. The bonuses, this is the first time ever I'm rewriting LinkedIn and resumes for those that join. It is because it is a more difficult market. As much as the modules are helpful, I know so many of you are just really concerned. Everyone's starting to sound generic. Everybody looks and sounds the same because they're all using ChatGPT. Like, how do I stand out? So we're going to just make sure it has a human element to it, and it's going to help you stand out. Most importantly, you're going to feel confident. Like, okay, Emily stamped her approval. I'm going to start putting myself out there. That's my goal for you. And then to hopefully be found as well. Again, if you're someone who doesn't know what you want to do, you don't know who you are, you're like, I just kind of fell into my career, but I want to know what else is out there. You're going to love our career clarity modules and exercises. And then in this cohort, I'm going to be scheduling out co-working sessions so we can hold each other accountable. We're going to talk about career clarity on this date. Hopefully you go through the clarity module, bring your questions with you, get support, and we'll continue on through the 8 modules. And then finally, how to earn trust and referrals training. Everything you could possibly want to know about networking is in our modules. We've done so much training around all the scenarios and all the templates that have worked. We've tested them. We've had clients give us their templates that they've used to get interviews and offers. Everything is in there. So again, you can join, save $500 off only if you're on the wait list when doors open on Monday. And if you do the pay in full, then it's just $19.97, and you're also getting a one-on-one coaching power hour session with me. You can redeem this at any time. There's no expiration, but anytime you're really feeling stuck, or maybe in the beginning, you're like I really want a personalized strategy call and just talk about my background and all my blind spots that maybe I'm not aware of, we could do that. So anytime you just are like, I need a one-on-one, I'd love to do a mock interview with you. No topic is off limits. I can coach you from a emotional side. I can coach you from a tactical strategic side as well. And yeah, cultivateyourcareer.com/waitlist is where you go. I feel like this sounds like an infomercial because it's like, and then this feature and this feature, but truly, it is the only job search program you're going to need if your goal is to land a job as soon as possible. And again, this is for a new, not a new business. I'm not doing business coaching. This is for, I want to find an employer that I actually like and that I would love to stay with, hopefully. And if not, that's okay, because this program has taught me job search skills. It's taught me how to become more confident and how to coach myself anytime I have self-doubt. Cool. Whatever happens in the future, I'm good. And that's really the goal of this program. All right. All that being said, I want to spin the wheel, and then I'll take 2 more questions before we call this a wrap. And I guess we should do a closing remarks in case people hop off. So first, I just want to say thank you guys so much for your time and like really coming into the space and your energy, your beautiful energy over this past week. I truly know that time is one of the most precious resources out there, and it is not replenishable. And so I just really, really thank you for using your time with me and being here. And I can honestly say you are going to land your job because there's no reason you wouldn't unless you give up entirely. So just stay the course. And hopefully you can really take what we've gone through in this boot camp together and implement it. Like truly, I didn't hold it back. Like this is what's happening in modern day job searching. And of course, if you know like, okay, but I really need guidance, support, I want to be able to talk through things, I hope I get to support you inside of the formula. I think it'll be an amazing 6 up to 6 months program. I feel like a lot of people ask, like, is it going to take me 6 months to land a job? We've had people join and land their jobs within 3 weeks, even though they had been searching for over 8 months. But it's really like, I don't want to put a time pressure on it because everybody's so unique. Everybody's background is different. Everybody's target is different. My goal for you is to just keep the momentum and the consistency to get to where you want to be. Okay, so that's my spiel. Melissa, do you want to share anything?
Well, I wanted to share about HHF. One of the most useful things I found in the program were all the templates and the scripts that were in there. So that was totally worth it. I was so glad that I got that. And I wanted to respond to a question from Diana. Do you want to do that after the wheel or before the wheel?
Let's do the wheel because I know we're
Okay.
over. So in case people need to hop off, I just want to
Yeah.
see if we have hopefully a happily hard formula
Yeah,
winner.
I hope so.
All right, you guys, we need your energy. Spin, 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 spin. Okay, if this is another Starbucks. Oh my God, it's another Instacart.
Oh, geez.
Again, I think we should
spin it again. Yeah.
All right, spin, 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 spin. It's HHF. Oh my goodness.
That's so exciting.
What? Oh my gosh. How cool. Okay, so let me go to my
Wow.
team. I was hoping that would happen.
I know.
All right, team, you're going to tell me why. We're waiting for the response. Who won this scholarship? Okay, let's hold off on that until let's read Diana's because the team is still getting their answer.
Yeah. Yes, yeah. So Diana mentioned that she wants to take multiple courses and sounds like, has multiple ideas of things that she wants to do, but she's worried about what if I fail? And so I was actually like typing out a response to this, and I wanted to share something with Diana because I'm curious what it means to you, Diana, if you fail, because it sounds like you have a relationship with failure that it's a bad thing, or it doesn't mean, or it means like something really deeply personal about you. And I just heard a coach the other day talk about the light bulb, the invention of the light bulb. Oh my gosh, why can't I remember Thomas Edison. So he had been interviewed after he had created the light bulb, and this person said, Thomas Edison, how did it feel to fail, X amount of times, to be like unsuccessful X amount of times? And he said, oh, I succeeded at not finding a solution to creating a light bulb. And then I succeeded at finding a solution to creating the light bulb. And I thought that was so interesting because it was just such a very different perspective of failure and it not being such a bad thing, but it's actually something that can serve us and shift our direction, because every time something doesn't go the way that we want it to go, it gives us feedback, and then we have an opportunity to change our direction based off of that feedback.
Yeah, I love that. And I think I see from Diana, she's actually saying like spending money on a course. I don't know if this is out of context. I just see Diana say spend money on a course. And so if that's kind of the thing, like, well, what if I invest in myself and I fail? That's so common because it's like we're hardwired to go into survival. And it's the very first thing that we ask is, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? And so if anybody has this thought right now, I want you guys to play this out to the end. So, okay, what if I enroll in Happily Hard Formula? We could use my course as an example, and I don't get my job. Then what? Well, then, so you guys can go on and on, right? So I'll make up a hypothetical. Well, actually, let's ask Diana. Diana, can you come on? Raise your hand, your virtual hand. So I think this is going to help a lot of people. Awesome. Let's make her a panelist. Hi, Diana. Is it Diana
Hello,
or Diana?
Diana.
Diana. Okay, thank you. And tell me what your like fear is specifically, or the
Um,
fear.
so I have like several programs that I wish to take, like in different fields, like travel, like booking travel for people, like Salesforce, gaining that experience, gaining that certificate in Salesforce, I believe admin one. And then a bit of like maybe data analyst or something, Microsoft certificate from there.
Mhm.
So I'm kind of not sure or hesitant, like if I'm gonna go and take one and spend the money, and what if something is not right for me, or like is it worth for me to go ahead and spend money on that, or what if I spend money and then something something doesn't work out, and then I feel like I'll regret spending money on this. Yeah, so I
Mhm.
just want to know what to
So
do
juicy.
about this. And like also, if I have a lot of like certificates I want to take, how would I like manage to get everything done? And
Hmm.
like I'm not sure when, but like is there a way I could do that, like manage to do everything, or not everything, maybe several programs at once, or one at a
So
time, or how does that work?
yeah, Deanna, what is your intention for taking all of these various certificates? Like, what's the motivation?
To gain the skills to put on my resume and my LinkedIn account that are like, oh, I'm, for example, a travel agent. Oh, for example, I would put it, I'm a Salesforce certified, and I have like a bit of data analyst, for example, Microsoft certificate
Yeah.
experience and all that. So it's just like
Okay. So
good
to
to
be
add because
myself
I'm
more.
not quite sure. Right now I'm working at a company contract. Um, it's short-term contract, but I'm like thinking what to do. What am I going to expect next? What I'm gonna do now, then after, in case something goes wrong with this company, in case this contract position doesn't take me directly, hire me directly, for example. Um,
Yeah. Sorry, I'm chuckling
yeah,
because
go
you're
ahead.
very like, hyper vigilant. You're like, I need
Yes.
to make sure this thing hasn't even happened in the future, but I'm anticipating every worst case scenario and trying to build a safety net and make sure that I can control the situation when I always say control is an illusion and security is an illusion. And what I mean by this is we can try to control XYZ from happening, but there's so much out of our control, right? Like it's the example of you can be the healthiest person on the planet and still be diagnosed with a health, like an unhealthy disorder, right? Or a disease. So, what I really am sensing would be helpful for you, Deanna, is instead of looking for security outside, sourcing security inside. And so this is something that like Melissa and I can support you with in Happily Hired Formula, but the whole thing is how do we start to feel safe inside instead of like, oh, but then if I get this credential, because then, oh, but then this is the new hot thing. And if I don't have that, then I'm not good enough and I am not as talented or as qualified as XYZ candidate out there. Because there's always going to be somebody who has better or more or whatever, right? And so the question is, how do you feel secure and safe without fearfully, because I'm hearing a lot of scarcity, like I need to get this, I need it, I'll do it all at once. And it's a lot of like fearful energy rather than like really feeling grounded and intentional. Like, I really desire to be a Salesforce administrator. So I'm gonna like focus my attention on that and let that be enough. Do you get what I'm saying right now?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So you want to get out of that cycle because right now we're kind of like in this it's a hypervigilant state, and most of us are dysregulated. Like we don't know it. We just think this is normal because we've been in it for so long. So I think I'm going to do a nervous system regulation lesson in the first month of Happily Hired Formula. Because truly, like anytime we're dysregulated and then something happens, like a rejection email, a like somebody ghosted us, or we are supposed to have a conversation with a recruiter, but they didn't pick up the phone, like we just combust. We're like, I can't deal. Everything sucks. Yeah. Or it's like, panic. And then I need to like mass apply to like 10 other jobs, right? And so for now, I just really want you, anytime you find yourself future casting, future worrying, bring yourself back into the present moment. And maybe remind yourself why you are safe. Wow, I have a job right now. I'm actually getting paid right now. I have a contractor job. I have a job to go to tomorrow. I have a roof over my head. I have internet. I have clothes. Like, bring yourself back to this present moment. And then I think something really helpful for you is just playing out the worst case scenario. Okay, I took this Salesforce administrator course. I didn't get the job. Okay, then what? What would you do then?
I would look for maybe Microsoft certificate program to take and search for jobs on LinkedIn in
Okay,
case
and then
something
I found another
is
certification. I started applying to other jobs, and then what?
contact recruiters and
Mhm.
find
Okay, so
something.
I'm gonna do all these things, and I'm gonna get the job.
Yes.
Yeah. So I kind of hear two things, Deanna. Like one, you're eventually going to get a job, but I think if I were your coach, I really focus more on the intentionality and making sure that you're coming from a place of more like abundant thinking rather than
Mhm.
from a place of lack, a place of scarcity. So I'm hearing a lot
Mhm.
of like, until I get this, then I'm not whatever enough. And that's like a never-ending hamster wheel.
Yes.
And that's when you're going to get like all these useless, not useless, but all these certifications that maybe you could have expended your energy in just like this one thing that you're like, I'm committed to this. I'm going to work towards this. Even if the initial result is a rejection, I'm not going to let that rejection mean I have to give up entirely. Like back to Melissa's point of it's either a blessing or it's a lesson. You know, this result is a blessing or this result is a lesson, and I need to tweak and modify.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I would wait until the contract job is like closer to over and then like figure out what to do next, or should I like
I think
work on
I wouldn't put a time
skills?
on it. I would try to get really centered. Like, I want you to get back into a window of tolerance. It's hard to explain without going into all of it, but like, I want you to get back into safety. I feel safe. I feel okay. I'm not making any impulsive decision. I feel really grounded. I feel really connected. I feel really clear. I'm not fearful of what I do or what I don't do. I just feel really like I'm in my homeostasis.
Mm-hmm.
From there, what do I want to do? What do I desire to do? And don't force an answer, like just let it come to you. And not with like a certain timeline, like I have to figure it out by XYZ. Because I don't hear from you right now, like you're really committed to one direction. You're kind of like throwing spaghetti at the wall. And that's what
Yes,
I don't want
different
you to do.
directions. Yeah.
And I don't know if you're joining Happily Hired Formula, but even the clarity module can help you with narrowing it in. Because once you know what you want, then you just focus on picking that path.
Yeah, I've taken several like assessments on like career and like the Myers-Briggs and like yeah, like I kind of have an idea, but I'm also a bachelor's degree holder in business, so I'm kind of like open to any job in business because it's like pretty much
Deanna, no, no,
general.
no,
Yeah.
no, 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 Deanna. we're not taking assessments and making a profile fit us. I really hope that you can get clarity first, because when you know, you'll know. And you're not taking any job and you're not trying to fit yourself into something. It depends on where you are in your career too. Like if you're kind of in your 20s right now and you're exploring, that's totally great and fine. We sometimes don't know until we do something, and that informs what we do next. So I don't want to like put you in a like prescription, but I just really want you to get clarity on what you really want and what's important to you before you enroll in any certificates.
Mm-hmm.
Can you do that?
I'm also almost in my 30s.
Okay, beautiful. So yeah, lots of exploration time, but we can get intentional. Intentional is the word that keeps coming up for me when I'm talking to you, because I don't want you to trial and error and test out a bunch and spend all your time and money in different areas just to see if this is what you want. There's faster ways to figuring out and narrowing it down than having to take certifications.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
Okay.
so it's best to take your program and then see what the career certificate program, I mean.
If your goal is to land a line job, then yes, that would be a really like good way to get hand in hand support and guidance. But all I'm saying right now is you're not ready to enroll in any certificates and courses because you don't have a clear direction. So we want to get clarity first before we do anything else. And
Mm-hmm.
you don't need to decide right now. Come back to safety. I have a job right now. I have a paycheck coming in. My contract doesn't end until whenever. Come back into, okay, I can show gratitude and appreciation for this, and keep reminding yourself of that anytime your fear comes up.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime your future worry, your anxiety comes up, bring yourself back to this present moment.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, let's see who our winner is. Thank you guys so much for all your patience. Our team for Happily Hired Formula said it was so hard to pick one since everyone is so deserving. So we picked one randomly, and it goes to Weena. Weena, awesome. They said you've been so present and open to receive any kind of support since day one. They think you'll love the scholarship. Yay! So excited to support you guys again. Thank you so much for this opportunity to be here with me and letting me just share my knowledge with you. Truly, this is the best job that I've ever had, and I hope that you find one that allows you to share your talents and your gifts with the world as well. Congratulations, you guys. For anybody who won any of the Spin the Wheel prizes, we'll be in touch. And final last parting words or logistics, because we get this all the time. Replay will be up until February 3rd. That's also when enrollment to Happily Hired Formula ends. So if you guys join Happily Hired Formula, sit tight. When February 3rd comes around, we'll officially begin the new cohort, although we do have a call this week and this upcoming week. If you decide to join on Monday, you can join that and the LinkedIn group. All right. Thank you guys so
Hi
much.
guys,
Anything
so
else you
good
want to
to
share,
see.
Melissa?
It was so great to be here. Good to engage with all of you, and I will see you in the Facebook group, and then hopefully I'll see some of you guys in Happily Hired Formula.
Yay. And by the way, if you guys have any questions about Happily Hired Formula, you can always hit reply to any of my emails. I'm happy to answer. Oh, you're so welcome, Lena. I can't wait to support you inside, and Moses and anyone else here. All right. Thank you guys so much for an awesome week, and you will land your dream job. I know it. It's a matter of time, and keep consistent. Stay the course and follow what you want to do, not what you think you should do. And by the way, if all the noise on LinkedIn is really discouraging to you, because I know there's a lot and there's a lot of like fear mongering on there, mute them, block them, unfollow. Truly, like, I want you in the mentality of there's hiring happening. I can land a job. it's coming to me.